Well, welcome back, my friends. It's been a while. It's been about a month. We just coming off of Riot's yearly Christmas New Year's break where they skip a patch so we get stuck with the same patch for a full month. But we're finally back. And today, oops, sorry. Forgot to mute my phone before we started. Anyway, today we have patch 26.1 for League of Legends, 16.2 for Teamfight Tactics. And I'm not going to break up the video. We're just going to go from here. We're going to start with League of Legends. Then we're going to do TFT. This is one long stream, but I'll break it up into two YouTube videos. So if you're interested in League, you can look at the League notes. And if you're interested in TFT, it'll be a separate video. So let's just go ahead and start off with League of Legends. We're finally headed to Demacia. Welcome to a brand new season of League of Legends. We've got a plethora of far-reaching changes. If you don't want to read thousands of words, here's a brief overview. Oh, don't worry. We're here to read it. What is this? Oh, okay. It didn't load for a second. Crystalline Overgrowth, Swift Play Adjustments. We saw all of this already. They had a little dev blog, of course, going into what we were going to see in the new season. I already covered that in my last video. So if you haven't seen the video, highly recommend you check out Riot's channel. And if you want to see my reaction, that's uploaded as well. So let's just get into it. All right, role quests. We heard about this already. Every role gets a cute little bonus. Queuing up. Custom summoner rift lives will now require players to select a position. Swift play, rotating limits, blah, 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 blah. Completing the quest. Complete your quest by playing out your assigned lane. You'll earn points. Support and jungle players will earn points for taking basically the same actions before. Supports will stack their world atlas, while junglers players will grow their pets. Yeah, support and jungle basically already had role quests. They both have unique role-related items that no one else can buy. So it kind of made sense. For top mid and bot lane players, you'll earn points for takedowns, epic monster takedowns, minion kills, turret plates, turret takedowns, and some will passively generate over time. Minion turret and player rewards are doubled in your assigned lanes. Midlaner will also progress by dealing damage to champions. Passive generation is a slow trickle outside of your lane, kind of like gold, I'm guessing. A significant amount of overall quest progress while you are in and around your assigned lane, roughly past your outermost living turret in your assigned lane. Drive your opponent out of lane or kill them to slow their quest progress. Okay, so this is what I assumed it was going to be like. If you manage to get ahead of your lane opponent, you'll finish your quest way sooner. So I'm wondering if, like, top lane, for example, since it's experience-based, could you just literally wind up, like, 4 levels above the enemy top laner? Right? Like, if you get a good dive and they miss, like, 2-3 waves of experience, and then you finish your lane quest before, you just end up 4 levels above them, and it's just, like, insurmountable. Whatever. Let's actually look at the numbers here. Top lane has been a particularly difficult role to give appropriate agency to over the years, and is frequently viewed as the position with the lowest agency. Correct. We're enhancing their agency in this update with universal access to teleport. Golden experience for me introduced by 25% outside of top lane until level 3. I mean, that doesn't mean much. 1,200 points required for plus completion. 1 minion, or 1 point per minion kill. 2 if you're top lane. 30 per epic monster takedown. I wonder if that's 90 for grubs. Do all 3 of them count? Plus 25 per turret takedown. Plus 50 in top lane. 20 per plate. 40 in top lane. 15 per champion takedown. At 1 minute and 5 seconds. Plus 1 per 3 seconds passively. Quest rewards. Level cap increased to 20, 600 experience. All future experience gains increased by 12.5%. If the top laner did not select teleport as a summoner spell, gain unleash teleport on a 7-minute cooldown. If the top laner did select teleport, they are also shielded for 30% of their maximum health on arrival, lasting for 30 seconds. Alright, so that's the one I'm most interested in as a top laner. Effectively, I think the big thing here really is when you play top laners, a lot of them really, really care about their level breakpoints, right? So you have obvious examples like Kale. Kale wants to hit level 16 as fast as possible. But then you have like lesser known examples like say Urgot or Gangplank who hit power spikes around level 13. And then you have other champs whose a lot of their power comes from per level bonuses from their stats. Right? So like for example, Bruisers gain some of the most stats out of any champion class in general. So they already like having those extra stats up front by getting these levels sooner. But then you also have champs like Darius, for example, who gain even more bonuses on top of their level stats because his passive, for example, gives him AD depending on his level. So I'm wondering if like Darius could like legitimately hit like a ridiculous amount of AD at level 20, but that's not something you're gonna see for a while. Right? Hitting those level breakpoints sooner is a big deal, but getting all the way to level 20, I feel like is something that'll only happen in really long games. On the other hand, though, permanent access to teleport. Now that's huge. Mostly because there's a lot of top laners. You only take teleport really because for macro reasons, right? But you have a lot of top laners who would much prefer a combat summoner. Like Darius again. He takes Ghost every game. Or Tryndamere, who would prefer to take Ghost every game. Or Olaf. Or Trundle. You know, these are champions that all love to take Ghost, for example. So it's going to be interesting to see that these champs can now play macro. The teleport is on a longer cooldown at 7 whole minutes. But the fact that, yes, they have the teleport in their back pocket, so they don't feel bad about just sitting in the side lane like they used to. Right? Like the real big weakness behind Darius is he can't play macro. He needs Ghost to be a good champion. But like now that he has teleport, he doesn't really mind just staying in the side lane, especially if he's in a favorable matchup. Right? Since he can play macro, since he can join his team if he needs to, and still have access to Ghost, I mean, it's just going to be a big deal. I really, truly feel like that permanent teleport is going to be the make or break for a lot of champions top lane. But yeah, we already talked about that before. Now, junglers. Remember that jungle, mid, and support got weaker quests. Mid lane is supposed to be not as weak because mid laners do have a lot of agency themselves. But jungle and support are supposed to have the weakest quest, so let's take a look. Jungle quest completion is mostly unchanged except for some light tuning. You'll complete your quest sooner and the Gustwalker Hatching's reward is slightly reduced. Gustwalker is the movement speed, right? So that makes sense. It's the strongest stat in the game. In addition to their previous rewards, junglers now get increased golden experience after completing their quest, better allowing them to be a powerful champion later in the game, as well as increased movement speed in the jungle. Okay, so that's a compensation then. Gustwalker's a little weaker, but you're getting the bonus movement speed in the jungle by default. And it's only the duration that got nerfed, half a second. Smite damage increased at the second and third tier. After quest completion, gain 4% movement speed in the jungle or river, increased to 8% while out of combat. That's pretty big, honestly. So just a passive bonus 8% movement speed, potentially. Just moving through the jungle. You have to complete the quest first, though, so it's not like they have this 5 minutes in. After quest completion, plus 10 gold and plus 10 experience per large monster killed. Okay, so a little bit more off of just clearing their jungle. Again, not the biggest changes ever. I think the real big thing here is a bunch of bonus movement speed in their jungle. And they finish their quest a little faster. Again, it's supposed to be comparatively weaker because, as we all know, jungle and support have the potential to just be the strongest roles in the game, depending on the matchup. Mid laners uniquely progress their role quest through dealing damage in addition to other events. For rewards, mid laners receive a free upgrade to their boots and periodically get an empowered recall. Periodically? Huh. I thought it was just a permanent empowered recall. Boots upgrades are based on the items introduced for feats of strength, but they've been heavily reworked and significantly more powerful. Uh-oh. I thought it was just the feet boots, but it's stronger. Golden experience from minions reduced by 25% outside of mid lane. So the same change as top lane. I guess this is to prevent just lane swapping, right? Since everyone has their role quests already, you don't really want a lane swap, but I guess the solo laners you had to pay extra close attention to stop mid and top from swapping. Quest progress. 1350 points required for quest completion, which is actually a little more than top lane, but I guess they also get it from dealing damage. Ranged champions gain 1.5% of damage dealt to champions with quest progress. Melee champions gain double, 3%. Silas is gonna have a field day, I think, with this change. Plus 1 million per kill to a mid lane. So it's the same thing as a top lane here. Except they get an extra 10 for champion takedowns. Then they gain it passively. Tier 2 boots upgrade to corresponding Tier 3 boots. If you do not have Tier 2 boots in your inventory upon quest completion, they will be upgraded on purchase. Every 5 minutes, gain an empowered recall, reducing the channel from 8 to 4. Champion takedowns reduce the cooldown by 1 minute. Interesting. So I thought it was just a permanent empowered recall, and it's actually not. You only get it once every 5 minutes, but if you get a couple kills, it goes down. And then here are the boots. 20 ability haste, 45 movement speed, 20 summoner haste. Empowering and protecting allies with abilities, dealing damage to enemy champions or cast summoner grants 10% movement speed. Yeah. So it's literally just the tier 3 boots we have right now, which, by the way, today's the last day of the season, so we won't have it for too much longer. But yeah, mid laners get empowered boots for free. And the occasional empowered recall. I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on this one. I feel like the tier 3 boots can be really, really good. Right? In some cases, it is very game changing because, especially when you have defensive boots, the your trading potential goes up massively because of the little shield you get. Then there's also bonus movement speed and Crimson Lucidity. This is kind of scary because I don't think there's a cooldown on this, so you could have permanent movement speed in combat with these. But anyway, like I said, I will reserve judgment. We will see just how the bonus boots and the recall stacks up against the other role quests. Bot lane. This is the other strong one next to top lane. But whereas top laners get bonus experience, bot laners will be getting bonus gold. So 1350 points. Minion per kill. Basically the same thing. But the quest reward is 300 gold immediately, an extra 2 gold per minion kill, plus 50 gold per champion takedown. Boots move to the role quest slot, effectively opening up a 7th item slot. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I don't know that it'll be enough. I understand that they don't want to give too much gold to the AD carry, but it really makes me wonder, like, how big of a deal this will really be. Right? Because it's like, if you have an extra 100 CS over other people, you're just farming like a monster. Right? That's an extra 500 gold in total from the quest. I mean, is that really that big of a deal? I don't know. Couple kills, maybe a couple hundred extra gold. I mean, generally speaking, over the course of a full game, how much more gold is this really? Is this an extra 1,000 gold over the course of like a 40-minute game? I don't know. I feel like even though this is intended to be one of the stronger ones, it doesn't seem that strong. But we'll see, right? Again, I don't want to jump to conclusions too early. but it really doesn't feel like this is all that important. An extra 500 gold early, yeah, can help you finish your item faster, yeah. So then you hit your 3 item power spike faster, yeah. So you can get to carrying sooner. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Bot lane has always had the problem of there's some of the strongest champs in the game. When it comes to carrying a game, they can output the most damage consistently. It's the only role in the game where every single champion in the role builds 6 damage items. Right? They're the only role in the game that does that. Because mid laners, you have tanks that go mid lane and build defensive items. Top lane, obviously, you do too. Jungle support. All those roles always have like champs that are effectively tanks and build defensive items. Bot lane is the only role where all of the champions scale, all of them build full damage and no defensive items if they don't have to. So we'll see if this little bit of gold is enough to offset the weakness of being a champ that just gets one shot by everything, you know? And then support. This is supposed to be the other weak one alongside jungle. The support quest is already very fulfilling and functional. And as they say, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. That said, we did want to take this opportunity to localize the role quest to bot lane. Also adding a few quality of life upgrades. Golden experience for minion kills support cosigns reduced by 25% outside of bot lane until level 3. See, this felt like it didn't matter much for the other roles, but it matters a lot for support. Because supports are more than happy to pull off an early role and mess up someone else's lane at cost to themselves. These are support items. They now give 9 gold per 10 seconds, so almost double the bonus passive gold. That's a big deal. So that's what they meant when they said that supports will be more likely to get an extra item. After quest completion, control work costs reduced to 40 gold. Okay, almost half. Store up to 2 control wards in your role quest slot instead of your item inventory. So yeah, nice quality of life changes for supports. Because again, supports alongside junglers have some of the most agency over the game. Support's the only role in the game that you don't have to farm and you can still be useful. So it makes sense to me. Don't give them too much of anything. Because no matter what, a level 3 Alistar even is always going to be useful. Otacon, Blood Roses, Feats, and Kills. All of this is just gone, right? Feats of Strength, gone. First Blood once again grants an extra 100 gold. Nice. First Choice once again grants plus 300 gold. As a top laner, I'm very happy about that. Otacon is removed. Blood Roses are removed. Base kill gold devaluation per 1 gold given on death. So, for example, dying and giving away 300 gold will reduce your base kill gold by 75. Okay? So you're worth a little bit less gold on continuous deaths. That's nice. Base kill gold reevaluation. Not affect the accrual of positive mounties. Okay? Epic objective tuning. Oh, that's a lot of words. Let's just get to the actual meat of this. Elemental Drakes. Minimum level 6. Health. So their health normally is 5,730, scaling up to almost 14k. Their minimum health is now 3,625. Am I reading that properly? They will have up to 35% more effective HP, increased further for teams who approach Dragon Soul. As the Dragon Vengeance mechanic that gives them damage reduction has been buffed, causing super late game soul takes to last about twice as long. We're picking Dragon Vengeance for the primary buff here because we want losing teams to have a fair shot at taking a low value elemental Drake, but we want Dragon Soul to be strongly contestable. Drake still won't deal very much damage, which is intended part of their combat. Wow. Wait, this is a huge deal, actually. Extra armor, extra MR. Mountain Drakes have extra HP. Dragon Vengeance damage reduction. Doubled! It's over doubled. No longer increases damage to champions. Damage to them now shows its numbers more accurately. A little bit more gold. More localized experience and comeback XP is now linear instead of quadratic, but still goes at double at a 4-level deficit. Wow. So for those of you who aren't understanding how this works, it's basically as they outlined here. If you're ahead in dragons, right? Like let's say you have 3 dragons and you're going for Dragon Soul and the enemy team has no dragons. It is easier for the enemy team that has no dragons to kill the dragon. And much more difficult for the team ahead in dragons to kill a dragon. So what this means is, like, if you're in a situation where, like, oh, we finally want to fight, we have no dragons, you can burst that dragon down easily. But if the enemy team is on soul point, they need double the effort to kill that dragon, which means it's way, way easier for you to contest and steal that dragon. That's a big deal. Because you are less likely to be completely shut out of a game just because you don't have any dragons. And that's alongside the fact that junglers have a stronger smite now as well. Dude, that's kind of huge. I'm not going to lie to you. That is a very, very big deal. Because dragons are a win condition. So being able to take dragons quicker if you're behind in dragons, but slower if you're ahead in dragons, it'll make it a lot more likely that teams will be a bit more even in dragons, you know? The odds of a team getting 4 drags to 0 is much lower in that case. Elder Dragon got its own unique changes. Already scaled its durability with level, but we're cleaning up the functionality of it. Like with Baron later on, its overall gold value is going down, while the experience value is being placed entirely in the team-wide global XP and ensuring it's amplified by the monster's comeback experience. Ultimately, Elder Dragon will have a 20% more effective HP. Minimum load change shouldn't mean much. Minimum level 13. Lower armor and MR, but higher HP. Not as much global gold, but more experience. You actually get more experience if you help take down the giant, but if you weren't there, there's more global experience. Because there's 0 local experience. Everyone just gets the 650 now. Comeback XP is now linear. Yeah. So, again, this just looks like a way to stop people from getting completely shut out of the game. Right? That's pretty much what I'm picking up here. Right? If you're behind, getting these objectives is going to be way easier. And if you're ahead, it's going to be harder to close out games like this. Like, flipping the game over these objectives is just a terrible idea. It always has been, but now I feel like it's going to be even worse. The Void Grubs. Generally been an epic muscle camp that's more about getting yourself ahead and rewarding the whole team for running over to assist. This is increased focus on pushing turrets. We think the buff already rewards that playstyle strongly, but we want to reduce the pressure on having whole team roam up for grubs. Want to make it easier for laners to run over. Concentrating the gold reward purely on the killer for each monster and retuning the reward to be more in line with our goals for camps like these. Reducing the camp's damage. Their durability is increasing as well. Changes to Void Mites only affect the monster camp version. Okay. No longer heals the killer. $79 to 84, $195 for 3. Grubs now do 50% more damage to non-champions matching Dragon and Baron. Okay, so some adjustments here to Void Grubs. To make them more of a... I guess this makes them more neutral as an objective. A little less pressure for a season that's already going to be stronger around split pushing. I get it. Rift Herald. Valuable objective due to its ability to knock down turrets, so we're actually increasing its unique reward a small amount while removing an odd optimization around delaying its summon. We're making the eye mechanic more soloable by moving it to a simple cooldown that junks can more easily claim. Changing its rewards to match our goals. Its effective health is also increased. Dude, these jungle camps are getting so much HP. It's funny how you don't give junglers bonus priority by giving them a weaker role class, but then they still have this. This is still so much more important. These neutral objectives, man. But I guess at the same time, it's going to be harder for junglers to just kind of like do it themselves. Right? A lot of these neutral objectives are going to be more team-based rather than jungler-based, which I suppose makes a lot of sense. Especially since supports and junglers overall are supposed to be weaker. And they're the ones who are roaming to these objectives more often than not. Eye cooldown is no longer reduced on hit. Terror now deals 50% more damage to non-champions. Experience value lower. XP radius higher. Only 100 gold to the killer? Damn. Alright. Okay. I mean, I understand that. I understand. They're really going kind of all in on the change to these neutral objectives here. I kind of love it. Otacon gone. That's it. There's just no more Otacon. Baron Nashor. Okay. Receiving similar treatment to Elder Dragon, reducing its overall gold reward and ensuring the experience reward is impactful. Preserving its buff power is a meaningful game ender, though. Done a tuning pass on Baron's various abilities to ensure they're not weaker than his regular attacks, so he lives up to his raid boss aura. Shred is also being empowered to consistently weaken enemies. Wow, just like Otacon did. The fight is more lethal before when the enemy team comes to contest. You thought pro teams were done throwing the game at 20-minute objective fights? Think again. So ultimately, Baron will be more durable than before and slightly more threatening as the abilities will more accurately scale across game time. I mean, that's a big deal, man. So Baron's tankier. He's doing more damage. 100% total AD. Oh my god, it just scales with his AD now. Holy crap. Re-added Shred's armor and MR. Baron Nashor is now subject to combat experience like dragons. Players on the losing team gain 25% increased experience per level. They're behind. Damn. Okay. And with that, you know, Baron is also back at 20 minutes since Otacon is gone. Sheesh, man. I'm a little scared. We're not done with jungle camps yet. Now we got the regular buff camps. Removing the global red and blue buffs that were available after 25 minutes. We think these buffs should be meaningful. Giving them out globally makes them less special. I think overall power level of these camps got too high with so many buffs giving out. As jungler, you're less likely to face off against an enemy who's wearing matching buffs, so giving junglers a little more late game combat agency in their average fight. So Baron Spawn no longer corrupts red and blue buff. The second version of the buff still drops. Okay, so no more purple camps. Red buff region. 146 11. So they spread out the they spread out the actual buffs for the buffs over the level here for red buff. Jungle rules. Jungle changes this season are aimed at slowing down their early clears to give more room for lanes to play out. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so sick of being level 2 and getting ganked. We're also reshaping the field of early clears by giving junglers substantial damage reduction to help novice players have a more comfortable time when clearing their jungle and compensating the amount of health they get back. Junglers will also be a little better at killing epic monsters, as their pets will contribute more DPS regardless of class and build, and their smite will be more powerful. I mean, this just makes sense. This is good compensation for the fact that the neutral objectives are getting stronger. So monster damage amp lower, smite damage higher. Junglers take 50% damage from non-epic monsters. You only take half damage from your camps. Wow, okay. Maximum heal. Higher. Minimum heal. Lower. Now restores 15 energy on large monster kill. Okay, so if you're not a mana champion, like Zed, you get a little more energy on kill. Pet heal per second. Starts lower, ends lower. Wow, okay. I mean, but you're only taking half damage from the camp, so does it even matter? Pet-based DPS, higher. Against epic monsters, way higher. It was 15.5, now it's 20 to 150. Scuttlecrab no longer spawns at -1 level, thus increasing its gold/XP value. Kills required for first evolution, 15. Jungle Risk completion, 35 stacks. Oh, man. These jungle changes give me a headache. I'm not a jungler, but, like, this stuff is super important, you know? Sorry, I'm trying to get a little bit more natural light in here. And then also the light I have there. Phalites. So this is a cool new map feature. We saw this in the video already. When you see a little highlighted circle and you place a ward, it'll give you a bunch of bonus vision. Placing a ward on a Phalite makes the ward a Phalite super ward, applying the following effects. Plus 25% vision radius, bonus vision region for 45 seconds? That's way longer than I thought. I thought it would kind of be like when you kill Empowered Scuttle and then it just blooms and you see everything in a radius for a little bit. But 45 seconds, that's a while. Bonus vision region shape is specific to the Phalite location. Bonus region particles are only visible to your team. The bonus vision region is not affected by the type of ward being used. Duration is represented by a countdown circle visual on the ward. Bonus vision region can see into brush if the brush is in the region shape. Enemies will know they're in the bonus region while their team has a detector sweeper effect within the region. Enemies will know they're in the bonus region if their team has ping tracked the ward. All Phalite super ward buffs are suppressed while the ward has near sight, and removed when the ward dies. If your team already has a ward on that Phalite, that ward will be destroyed to make room for the new super ward. For the sake of Vision Sword, the ward has a plus 25% score mod. For the sake of Vision Score, the bonus region is treated as an extra ward obeying the position modifier rule. So, can only one team do it though? Right? Like if one team has claimed the Phalite, can the other team not claim it? I don't really see it. Phalite locations, one near each base, one in each island brush, each river wall brush, one near sidelines in each quadrant. Buffing the cooldown of yellow trinket as well, so non-supports are more readily able to access vision. Also buffing duration of red trinket, so those trying to bypass clearing vision are more able to do so. We're adding more Scryer Bloom locations as well. Oh my god. They're forcing us all to play the vision game. I wonder if this will make or break Fiddlesticks. Probably depends on either or, right? Like, if you're Fiddlesticks, you really, really want your team to help you get vision. Because if the enemy team has vision, if the enemy team is winning the vision game, you are going to be worthless. You will never get the fear. So Stealth Ward is 210 to 120. It's now 170 to 90. Wow, that's much lower. 40 seconds at level 1. Oracle Lens Trinket duration lasts an extra 2 seconds. Default respawn time for the Scryer Bloom, minus 60. Damn. At 15 minutes, new Scryer Bloom locations will become available. River coast near side lanes, behind each side lane inner turret. One near the rocks. Elemental roof Scryer Bloom location near these plants have been deprecated, and any other plants too close by have been repositioned. Okay, man. The vision game is going crazy. Like I said, I wonder if that's going to make or break Fiddlesticks. Riddle 6 cares a lot about vision, so we'll see, right? Home guard no longer has a duration. What? Home guard's going to be generally faster, reducing dead time in the game flow, enabling proactive plays more often. Now be able to keep your home guard until you reach the action, your outermost turret in your lane, or the minion wave. Wow. No longer has a duration. Now removed after reaching the endpoint, entering combat, or entering the jungle. Will always take you to at least just before your outermost living turret. Home guard will always take you at least to your inhibitor in your base. After 14 minutes, or at least one turret on either team has been destroyed in a given lane, home guard will track the furthest minion in the lane. For 14 minutes, home guard's grant 80% move speed, ramping down to 40. After, it grants 150% movement speed, ramping down to 65. So better home guards. Holy crap. This, with something like this, you're not taking teleport top lane ever, right? Why would you ever? If you're a top laner, why are you ever taking teleport? You have better home guards too? To go with the fact that you'll get the teleport guaranteed later in the game? Speaking of top lane, Crystalline Overgrowth. Okay. Here's the new big thing, especially if you love to split push. We're interested in making lane pushes better outside of Baron buff. Even if turrets are worth more, there are many situations where you just don't have the time or DPS needs to make meaningful turret progress. Crystalline Overgrowth is a new mechanic on lane turrets to enable that damage progress. Essentially saying, what if every champ had an accessible demolish-like tool to enable small pushes? Over the course of several minutes, crystals will begin automatically building up on turrets. When a champ hits that turret, the overgrowth will burst, dealing bonus true damage based on how much is accumulated. It's not based on the attacker's stats, nor do they need to stay near the turret. The tuning gear is meant to be useful whether you're pushing fairly frequently or hit turrets a couple times per game. This is a big deal. So, for example, if you're a tank, you need Demolish to split push. That is no longer technically the case. With Crystalline Overgrowth, your stats are irrelevant. You're just getting bonus tower damage over time, regardless. So, even you have the opportunity and there's some overgrowth in the turret, you might as well hit the turret. That's a pretty big deal. Because this makes split pushing way more viable, especially if you are a champ that takes Demolish or is good at split pushing. You're going to be knocking down turrets way faster. Targetable lane turrets are now subject to Crystalline Overgrowth. Will appear after a 90-second cooldown, 30-second swift play. At that point, the turret will take true damage. The overgrowth will stay at its minimum damage state for 60 seconds, then scale the damage up linearly for 240 seconds, then hold at max damage indefinitely. Damage levels based on the average level of the team. Level 1, it's 2 to 3% of the turret's health. Level 18, it's 8 to 20% effectively. 18.9. Attack hitbox of the turret is increased for melee champions based on the size of the overgrowth. Wow, so you don't have to be right next to the tower if you're melee? Because the overgrowth will make the turret hitbox hit bigger, seemingly. Will not profit from attacks while the turret has backdoor protection. So if you don't have a minion wave, right? An enemy unit is near a turret at the 9-second mark when it will become active, will be suppressed and not appear. Once enemies are gone, will then be applied. This to avoid certain mid-push activations. Yeah, that would suck, right? If it came active while someone's already hitting the tower. And because of that, we got changes to Demolish. Given that Overgrowth occupies a lot of game space, as Demolish, for Demolish needs to be simplified. Charge up a powerful attack against the tower while near it. Your third attack against the tower deals bonus physical damage. Okay. So the cooldown is lower, but now it's a 3-hit passive. It's a little bit weaker, but you get it more often. All right, acceptable. Yeah, and it used to be the same for both. It's just stronger on melee now. Game start time. Minion spawn time. 30 seconds. Holy crap, wait. Getting you an extra faster. With the home guard changes pushing everyone out faster, it's still possible to invade even with this faster earlier start time. So minions spawn at 30 seconds now. Holy crap. Does she just say 30 seconds until minions spawn right at the start of the game now? Or is that voice line just gone now? Camp spawn at 55 seconds. Krug and Gromp spawn at 1:07. River Scuttler, 255. Baron Nashor back to 20. Epic monster spawn times are unchanged unless noted above. Ambient and gold start time, 65 seconds. Most miscellaneous start of game systems, World Atlas for start 35 seconds faster. Remake eligibility, 130 to 3 is now 55 to 225. Early surrender, also almost a full minute faster. Holy crap. Game start faster. Cool. Turrets. Uh-oh. Bulwark resist duration, 20 seconds. 20 seconds overlapping duration. What? Headline features that all turrets, except Nexus turrets, now have turret plates. Oh, right! All towers have tower plates now. Total gold from these turrets isn't changing much. These mechanics are pervasive and live on the turret forever. Simplified several rules and removed the 3D visual turrets of plate themselves. Segment's health bar will show how far you are from the next gold payout. Doing the tuning past and overall durability and damage, keeping outer turrets from scaling quite so far, making mid-game turrets take a little less risky. Landing to provide solid safety gold. Solid safety, sorry. Turret health is overall increasing a little to make room for the new crystalline overgrowth mechanic. Bulwark resist. Turret plates take 17% less damage from minions and ranged champions. 20%. Or they take 20% more from melee now. Okay. Dude, so the turrets actually pay out a little bit of their gold from you taking these plates now, instead of you having to just take the full tower. And that's on all turrets except Nexus towers. Turret true sight range. A little bit more. 5. Outer turrets. Nearby players are now rewarded a share of 300 gold for destroying the first turret of the game. Plates are now permanent instead of falling off. God, that's actually so good. If you're behind, you can still get those tower plates later on. I love getting gold, bro. Resistances. The 15 armor MR per minute starting at minute 11. Plate gold. Turret plate drop 14 minutes or no further gold. Plate value reduces by 10 gold per minute at minute 11, capped at minus 40. Plate thresholds. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 is now 10, 25, 45, 70, 100. No longer gains 50 permanent resist per dead plate. Really? And what turret plate models have been removed. They now only show health bar segments. So the little 5 stack on front of the tower is gone. Higher base resist, higher base HP though. Okay, so that makes up for the loss in resistances. I don't know, man. This is something that's gonna take some time. Less maximum gold, more minimum gold. This is gonna take some time. I'm really gonna have to get a feel for it by playing the game to see just how much faster and more rewarding it is to take these towers. It seems like a buff overall. Like if you like split pushing, this is your season. Enter and inhibitor turrets. They have plates now. More HP. More resistances. Inhibitor turrets have plates as well. Lower region threshold. Inhibitor turret, more HP, less resistances. Yeah, so just some changes to turret health and resistances. Again, I'm not 100% sure on how much easier or more difficult it'll be to take these towers. And then, of course, there's also Nexus turrets, who received the same changes. Added a separate tower item for Nexus turrets to show that they respawn. Okay. Alright, we're almost through the system changes, man. We're almost at champions. Oh, man. We're not even halfway through this page. This is so long. 14 minions. Minion waves no spawn every 25 seconds. Mechanic minion spawns on these waves. One fewer melee minion spawns. Really? At 30 minutes, they now spawn every 20 seconds. One fewer caster minion spawned. Minion to turret damage up to 60. Higher base movement speed. First cannon minion wave is now wave 3. A full wave sooner. Oh my. This is too much for my tiny brain. It's too much for my tiny brain. It's too much. Most of this stuff is stuff I'm going to have to like feel out because just reading it on paper, I'm like, bruh, it's a different game. Oh, man. All right, let's just head down in the champs. If you're a numbers person, have fun. Let's head down to champions. So finally, well, Cassiopeia's no boots passive is very thematic. The addition of more boot-based systems over the years, like Roll Quest, has made it feel like a punishment. I think it's important for Cassio to have the opportunity to engage with these new systems, so we're reworking the passive. I guess snakes do need boots after all. So she has higher base movement speed, passive rework. Increase effectiveness of all movement speed buffs by 60-40%. Okay. So Cass can buy boots again. And she just increases the effectiveness of all move speed buffs. That can lead to some ridiculous synergy, right? Champs who give her movement speed, the bonus movement speed she gives herself, movement speed from boots, plus extra tertiary effects like maybe Cloud Ray. The snake might be very, very, very fast. Samira. We like that Samira's R and Q are almost direct auto attack replacements. Want to preserve as much of their crit damage as possible. The value of crit going up, the value of AD must then go down. So 50 through 25 plus 125, 0 through 20 plus 110. So the total AD took a 15% hit here. Substantial. Critical damage, 50% of bonus crit damage. So still the same with IE. Okay. R non-crit damage, 30% total AD, minus 15% here again. But a bonus with IE. So yeah, Samira is adjusted. She's better the more crit she has, but she's worse in terms of base stats. Or base AD, rather. I guess it's not base AD, it's total AD, but you know what I mean. You need crit on the champion, and she'll perform better. I guess this is to stop her from building maybe non-crit items more effectively, like Bloodthirster. Right? You don't want to Samira first item in Bloodthirster. Aphelios. A lot of intricacies. Some of his abilities try to behave exactly like basic attacks. With that in mind, we're converting Severum's active to total attack damage. Can I be completely honest with you guys? I know the bare minimum about Aphelios. Onslaught per hit. So this is the red gun. 20 through 40 plus 40%. Instead, it's now plus... It feels the same. Or it's minor adjustments, but it ends the same. And it starts lower. Still critically strikes. I didn't read Calibrum. Less bonus AD damage per mark. Infernum. 25 to 65 plus 80. 20 through 110 plus 16. Is that a massive nerf or what? Am I reading this right? It is. That sounds like a massive nerf to Infernum. Sentry active damage is the little tower. 35 to 125 plus 60. 35 to 125 plus up to 42. So that's a huge nerf. Follow-up attack critical. 30% of bonus critical strike damage. That's a nerf too. Okay. I mean, I'm fine with the Aphelios nerfs. If I'm reading that properly, which I hope I am, Aphelios got some huge nerfs. Caitlyn's top-end headshot damage has gotten out of hand. With the value of critical strikes going up, it's about to get even stronger. These ADCs are getting hit hard, man. Crit scaling. 100% bonus crit damage, up to 130% total AD. Yeah, minus 50. Damn. Ace in the whole crit scaling. I didn't even know her ult scaled with crit. So up to 1.5, it's now up to 1.39 with IE. Tristana's E is one of the sharpest scaling abilities in the game, and considering her late game is already poised to be great with a strong attack speed, steroid, long range, and lots of crit damage, I think the top end for E can stand to go down a few pegs. Alright, all the ADCs are just getting taken out back and clubbed. 60 through 100 plus 140%. It's now 60 through 160 plus 80%. Oh my lord. Crit scaling. Down. Oh, lord. Nyla's in an interesting place. Or it's Neela. Sorry, not Nyla. Neela. Q didn't scale with Infinity Edge, so unlocking that So her Q now scales with IE? I've read enough, bro. I've read enough. I've read enough. Her Q scales with IE. We like the overall shape of how Jinx functions and generally want to preserve the value of her minigun's high attack speed, so we'll make sure her two stances are more distinguished. Attack speed growth, minus 0.4. Wow. It's one flat. Maximum flat damage from Super Mega Death Rocket. Minus 50 base, minus 10% bonus. Okay. They've been hitting her ult hard ever since she was like stealing Barons from like 3000 HP. Jhin won't behave any differently next season, as we want to avoid letting his guaranteed 4th crit shot do too much damage. Multiplicative crit damage mod. Now 75%. Equal less than 1.5 times. Okay. They're being very cautious with Jhin. Sivir. Sivir's going to gain a lot of power. Blah, 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 blah. Minus 15% bonus AD. Crit scaling also adjusted. Just like every other ADC. Zeri. Ultra Shock Laser. Minus 10% total AD. Through the wall damage. Also adjusted for crit. Damage now cosmetically strikes its targets when shot through a wall. Cosmetically critically. Okay. Cool. I guess it makes it more satisfying to hit it. Spark Surge. 17 to 25 plus 10. So that's a nerf. Crit scaling. Increase though. Wow. Oh man. Series Dash. Better crit scaling. Lightning Crash active damage. From 200 to 400 is now minus 50 across the board. Okay. Lucian, attack damage growth, minus 0.4. Attack speed growth. Damn, minus 0.8. Piercing Light, 205 to 120% bonus AD. It's now 220 plus 100% bonus. Minus 20% bonus AD. Damn, man. They are really, really afraid of ADCs taking over this next patch. Extra bolts from quick chance up to 25. Now up to 28, so a few extra bolts potentially. Total R bolts. It's a minimum of 44, but up to 50. Xayah. Her E. That's her E is pulling back the blades, right? Damage. 95 plus 60. 110 plus 40. Minus 20%. Dude, they are just gutting the scaling on these abilities. Crit scaling is now only up to 50. God damn, dude. Draven, AD growth, minus 0.6. Blood Rush, attack speed, minus 10%. Yanara, attack speed from her Q, minus 5%. Her R empowered W, 525 plus 150%, 480 plus 120%. Minus 30%, dude. Akshan. Passive second shot crit damage. 30% of bonus crit damage? 100% of bonus crit damage. Huh? That is a massive buff, isn't it? So his second attack is now doing way more damage. However, his Q lost 10% scaling. His E, less base damage, but 10% more total AD. However, it's only half of the bonus crit damage. Comeuppance, crit scaling, 30%. Oh my lord. So they cut down on his crit, but Akshan's got a little more upfront power here from his second auto. Gangplank. He's not even an ADC, but I guess he is functionally an ADC, right? So passive from his damage from his passive, 50 to 250. It no longer has crit scaling on the fire. Wow. Essence Reaver building from Sheen. I guess that's true. He's going to build Essence Reaver now. He's not even going to build a Triforce anymore. Or maybe because they're removing the crit scaling on his passive, maybe you feel inclined to build Triforce instead anyway, just for the bonus stats? Not sure. Bonus champion damage from the powder keg. Reduced by 40! No longer reduces points in 5 seconds at level 19. No longer deals 5% more damage on critical strike. Bruh. Yone. The one Reddit lovingly calls them the wind shitters. Crit damage, 90%. Same with Yasuo. Yeah, so they're just not allowed to crit for full damage because they get double crit. Miss Fortune. Double up. Active critical damage, 50%. Bullet time. 80% total AD plus 25 AP. 60 total AD, so minus 20%. Crit scaling, 30%. Tryndamere, another functionally ADC champion. Real gameplay updates with this patch and some very real nerfs due to how much critical strike chance he normally has. To weaken how incredible his early game all-ins can be with 200% crit damage, we're nerfing his bonus AD from Q, nerfing his early E as well. However, he's also getting some new tools. So we have a minor rework for Tryndamere. First, his Q now gives full value at 10% remaining health, meaning he can get the full bonus attack damage during his ultimate, and it no longer has a disincentive for ranking up. Second, his W will now slow enemies anytime they are running away, regardless of where they were looking when he cast it. Preemptively nerf the slow stuff. Oh, okay, so if you have, like Akshan's ultimate, for example, right? When Akshan is charging his ult, he's still looking forward even if he's moving backwards. Oh, no. I'm wrong about that. It slows any enemy while they're facing away from... Okay, so... Tryndamere's slow is when he presses W, you have the debuff right away. For those who don't know, Tryndamere's W reduces your AD, right? It's a debuff no matter what. The slow is connected to when you're running away, right? If you're looking away from him when he does it, a slow is on top of it. That is no longer the case. Now, Tryndamere puts the debuff on you, and if you run away during the debuff, it slows you retroactively. But the debuff for this slow is only 2.5 seconds, so it's a little more than half. And it's also minus 10% at max rank. Okay. I mean, you max it last anyway, so that is a meaningful change to the way his W works, though. Alright, let me scroll back up to his Bloodlust for a second here. Attack damage, 5 to 25.8% missing HP. Oh, wow. Maximum bonus AD is now at 10%. Right, so one of the reasons why you didn't want to put an extra point in Tryndamere's R is because he had actually a little bit more HP per level of his R. So you were actually getting less full damage out of your ult. If you were ulting and you were smacking, you actually had less max damage. That is no longer the case. It's 10%. Spinning Slash, 75 through 195 plus 130. 70 through 210 plus 100. Yeah, minus 30%. God damn. Okay. It's a little exciting. I kind of just want them to rework this champion. Right? You don't need to change his overall gameplay aspects, but I would like to see something. I would like to see him spruced up and changed in some way. So it's not just dumbasses right-clicking you, but okay. Twitch's late game team deletion with 200% crit damage will probably be too fast, so we're targeting some general late game DPS nerfs. Attack speed growth, flat 3. Attack damage growth, also flat 3. Ambush attack speed, minus 5%. Okay. Ashe, already quite attack reliant. They actually talked about this in the video. So, like Twitch, flat 3 for her attack speed and damage growth. Frost shot crit scaling is now up to 2.3 times. Volley, 200 plus 110 is now 200 plus 100, so minus 10% bonus AD. Smolder, crit scaling on his Q is now 50%. Yeah, apparently because of Essence Reaver, but we haven't even gotten the items yet. Kindred, another ADC. It's just all ADCs, man. Missing health crit. 50% of bonus crit damage and crit damage always. Up to 1.65% times, sorry. Pounce damage, 50% as well. Monster damage cap, minus 100. This is a buff in almost all scenarios. Oh, 200 to only the percentage HP portion. Okay. Corki. Damage per second from his Valkyrie. I mean, it's not like he relies on the damage from this ability. 100 plus 40 plus 30 is now 90 plus 40 plus 30. Minus 10 damage. Whatever. Shaco. So is this targeted towards AD Shaco? Seems like it. Damage 20 to 35. Minus 5% bonus AD. Crit modifier. Also adjusted. Deceive. Backstab modifier. 60%. I mean, doesn't this just incentivize more rats to build AP Shaco instead? Maybe. But I guess if you get a backstab crit and with the changes to items, maybe AD Shaco will be strong enough that these changes don't matter. The functional result of these Graves changes should be almost nothing. He'll deal about 1% more damage with basic attacks when critically striking. Quinn builds a decent amount of crit, stronger odds from passive procs, with compensating, nerfing those same auto-reliant passive procs. So her passive auto is a little bit higher base damage, but it only scales up to 40% bonus AD. Senna. Like Jin, Yasuo, and Yone, Senna's guaranteed critical strikes cannot sustain a 2x modifier, so we're lowering her base guaranteed crit damage. Don't know why I added the word guarantee there, but it's only 90% now. She's getting the same hit the Yasuo and Yone are getting. She cannot get the full modifier, since she has guaranteed crits. Garen, E crit ratio, 30%. Okay. Rengar, a heavy rescript. Bugs and tech dev. Q is now consumed on plants. No longer always considered a critical strike. No longer deals up to total bonus AD based on crit damage. Now deals 100/130% total AD bonus damage when Rengar crits the attack. Alright. I'm a little too stupid to understand this, but Rengar has been adjusted to compensate for the changes to crit. Viego. Current HP crit scaling, 50%. Second strike, 100%. Active crit, 50%. Crit scaling, 70%. Elise! We have a not an ADC! Finally! Elise is in a silly spot where ability power quickly fails to scale her damage against monsters after mid-game. So her monster damage cap on her Q has been increased to include 90% of her AP. Nice. Good for Elise. Jax. Now that top lane quest can reach him to level 20, we're looking for any champs who intermittently scale their passive. So he gets an extra 1.5% at level 19. That makes sense. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said there's a number of champs who actually will be happy with those extra 2 levels beyond just getting their other level break points sooner. Omnivamp now applies at 100% value, reduced to 33% value from pets, damage over time, and area of effect against minions. So Doran's Blade. Now that Omnivamp covers the needs of Doran's Blade's lane down, we're adding it back into the item in place of the life-draining passive. Jack of all trades, enjoyers rejoice. So, you know, Gwen can buy Doran's Blade again. New items. Dusk and Dawn. Okay, finally, we've gotten to some new items. Again, we went over these items in my last video, so I'm just going to breeze through it. Dusk and Dawn. This is a new Sheen item that makes your on-hit effects proc twice. So after using ability, your next attack deals bonus ability damage and applies to on-hit effects an additional time. So, I guess a good example might be maybe Echo presses E, and then he dashes and hits you, and he puts 2 procs of his passive on you. Is that a good example? Maybe. We will see where this item lands. I have a funny feeling it's going to be kind of completely broken. But we shall see. Basically, double on-hit effects for AP. Fiend Hunter Bolts. Opening Barrage. After casting your ultimate, your next 3 basic attacks gain 50% attack speed and critically strike for 75% of your normal critical strike damage. If an attack would already critically strike, it deals normal critical damage and also deals 10% bonus true damage. So, given the fact that it's called Fiend Hunter Bolts, it's obviously meant to be built on a champ like Vayne, right? Or Zeri. This is for seemingly 80 carries who hit R and have empowered ability or empowered auto attacks afterwards. They already outlined here Twitch, Zeri, Yanara. So we'll see how this lands as well. Again, it feels like a niche item for a very specific group of champions, just like Dusk and Dawn. Endless Hunger. Since the remover, I'm actually very interested in this one. Since the removal of Gore Drinker and the removal of Omnivamp on Eclipse, 80 caster fighters have had little to no access to Stain via the item system. So they put Zalani in the game as an item. A heavy AD scaling that rewards building high amounts of AD and to lead to some awesome pop-offs in teamfights if you can get a takedown. So, when a champion that you damage dies within 3 seconds, gain 15% Omnivamp. Okay. It's weird because it doesn't give you any HP. So I am wondering, champs who are happy with flat AD can get the bonus. I don't know. I feel like this item's not gonna be all that popular. I could be totally wrong, but it doesn't call to me. Bastion Breaker. This is the Assassin Split Push item. After taking down a champion within 3 seconds of damaging them, you get Sabotage for 90 seconds. While you have Sabotage, your next attack against an epic monster or turret deals an additional 300 plus 2500% lethality true damage over 3 seconds. Jesus, man. So Zed kills someone, walks back to lane, and passive hits a tower for a massive proc of damage. It is tied to takedowns, though, so it's not like this is something you can passively get if you're playing badly. My question is, how often are assassins really going to build this item? Because it doesn't seem like something you would first item when there's so many other better options. Actualizer. Active. Mana made real. For 8 seconds, your mana is empowered. While empowered, your spells cost double, but you gain increased ability damage, healing, and shielding, and your basic ability cooldowns progress 30% faster. So you get lower basic ability cooldowns, and your spells cost double, but they're empowered based on how much bonus mana you have. I feel like this is going to be pretty good for the obvious suspects, right? Ryze, Kassadin, Anivia. I feel like those champs that love just building 3-4 mana items, Orianna, they're going to love this item. But I think Ryze and Kassadin are the main two I'm afraid of here. Because they pop the button and they just go ham. Hex Optic, C44. Arcane Aim, Bat Chest. When a champion that you damage within 3 seconds dies, gain 100 additional attack range for 6 seconds. So this leads to situations like we're doing a team fight, right? You get a takedown. Now you have bonus range, right? Which can help you get another takedown, which is even more bonus range. Which is kind of neat. Vandal Pipes, new support item here. Slowing or immobilizing an enemy champion grants Fanfare. 8 for melee, 4 for range seconds. Fanfare grants 20% movement speed. While you have Fanfare, nearby allies, including yourself, gain attack speed. So, the champ that comes to mind for me is Bard. You walk up, you auto attack someone, they get hit with a meep, they're slow. Now you and your allies have bonus attack speed and move speed. Makes sense, right? Really nice utility item. Protoplasm Harness. Okay. Another big one I'm scared of. Lifeline. Taking damage that will reduce your health below 30% causes you to gain 200 maximum health. Then heal for 2 to 400 level scaling. Plus armor, plus magic resist, health over the duration. While regenerating health, gain increased size, movement speed, and tenacity. It's like a Mundo ult you can buy. It's a purchasable Mundo ult for other tanks. Which, by the way, It's a 600 health item. So Mundo's going to buy this item. So it's more Mundo for your Mundo. Hilarious. Whispering Circlet. / Diadem of Songs. Diadem. This is a 2-item pair for enchanters. A newly evolving tier item. So, tier item for enchanters. I hate enchanters. I feel like they're the lowest skilled champs in the game generally. But here you go. Landing abilities grants max mana. Once you max it out and it procs just like Seraphs. While you are an allied champion, or while you or an ally you've healed or shielded is in combat, heal the lowest health nearby allied champion. So, it's just a tier item for enchanters. Right? You get the bonus mana, and then you have consistent uptime, like consistent healing that's coming from the item on top of the healing and shielding you're already doing. So if you're a champ that heals or shields, this is a nice little bonus for you. This champion does not give any defensive stats though, so you are squishy from building it. Hextech Gunblade, a returning item that we haven't had in a while. Akali mains rejoice. Katarina mains rejoice. 80 ability power, 40 attack damage, 10% Omnivamp. Shock the target champion and slow them by 25%. So, Hextech Gunblade, it's just back. It's just back. An item that most hybrid champions really, really loved is back. Storm Razor also is back. I didn't even know they removed Storm Razor. I don't play any champs that built this item. Unending Despair. Oh, we're on updated items now. So, Unending Despair. The dual resistance version of Unending Despair was intended to slot well into health stacking builds into the second or third slot, but ended up being so generically useful that it overrode the choice structure in top and jungle tank builds. So it now builds from Chain Vest, Kindle Gem, and a Ruby Crystal. So it no longer has magic resist, but it has a little more armor and a little more ability haste. But Aegis is gone. Horizon Focused. Blah, blah, blah. Less ability power. Hello. Minus 50 on its ability power. Dealing damage to champions at 600 range or more units away from the cast reveals them. It no longer does that. Instead, dealing damage at 600 range or greater reveals for 6 seconds, and then deal 10% increased damage to enemies revealed by it. When Hyper Shot is triggered, reveal all other enemy champs within a 1400 range. Interesting. Huh. Maybe it's something that artillery mages will really like, right? That's what it's always made for. Sundered Sky, 5 more attack damage. Critical strike damage decreased. Cooldown increased. That makes sense. That makes sense. Sundered Sky gives a little bit more AD, but the crit is less valuable. Luden's Companion. Guns are cool, but so are staves. We're bringing this back to the old name. Oh wow, we got Luden's Echo back. It's the same item, but now it's Luden's Echo again. We got that purple staff back. Great. I appreciate that actually. I actually really appreciate that. Echoes of Helia. Tended to help fill the space between the Enchanter and Mage system, but ended up being a bit too far towards the Enchanter space and didn't quite fill that space, making more synergetic with Mage items. Okay, 35% of pre-mitigation damage dealt to champions as soul charges. Healer shielding an ally consumes all soul charges. It's basically the same, they just changed the stats a little. Sheen Essence Reaver is back. Enough said. I have nothing else to say about this. It's a Sheen item again. Umbral Glaive. Giving it an update to make it more functional for jungle and mid lane assassins. So after being unseen, your next attack deals additional true damage. Oh my. When you are near enemy stealth words, reveal them. You can still one-shot them. Okay. Wow. Bonus true damage after being unseen. This actually belonged to Duskblade, right? That was Duskblade's part of Duskblade's passive. Redemption. They took away the health, but it gives ability power now. Okay, so Redemption's more of a it's less of a tank item. Tanks don't really like this item anymore. It's more of an enchanter item. I think that's a good change. Too many tanks were running this and it was too good. And then the enchanters who were running this also got tank stats out of it from the bonus HP. So it's a little cheaper and it gives damage now. That's fine. Zeke's Convergence. New. Cryo Combustion. Gain 15 of ultimate ability haste. Alright, so Zeke's is a little better because you get your ult back a little sooner. So that you can proc it more often. Tier. Unique, now semi-unique. You can now have one tier stacking tier item in your inventory at any given time. Once your tier item transforms, you can get a new tier and stack all over again. Why not? Why not? Why not? I cannot wait for triple tier rise. Dude, I'm making a video on that. I'm playing Rise Top and I'm building 3 tier items plus the new item that what is it called? I'm doing Rise triple tier. No, quadruple tier because this item exists now. This is the new strat. Quadruple tier Rise with Actualizer and Rod of Ages, no boots, top lane, level 20, 10,000 mana. It's happening. I'm doing it. We have to. Mortar Reminder. -5 pen. Okay. Lord Dominic's also -5. Giant Slayer deals 15% bonus damage. Oh, okay. They removed this, right? Now it's back. Yun Tal. Attack damage lessened. Attack speed increased. Whatever. IE. 10 more attack damage. -10% critical strike damage. Okay. That's the fun part of it. Ranked in matchmaking. It ends today. As we all know already. Apex Duo. Yeah. Duo Q is back for high elo. Alright, Aegis of Valor. This is the huge thing as well. We also went over this in the past video. Dodging counts as a full loss. If you're autofilled, you can potentially get double LP or -0 LP. As long as you kind of play well. Ranked Flex is a little better. Okay. Then you have Swift Play. Not totally interested in Swift Play. Honestly, not totally interested in Arena either. I'd be interested if they added... Oh, they did add new augments. Well, I'll let that be a surprise for when we do our yearly Arena video. Or a monthly Arena video. Demacia Rising. I'm also not going to spoil this. It's an in-client kingdom building game that you can play in-client. Champion selects will be terminated when a player in Champion Select is reported and determined to be holding the lobby hostage to force a dodge or for any other reason. So never trigger without a report in Champ Select, so be sure to report players you believe are hostaging. So this is like someone locks in some troll shit to try and force you to dodge. When a champ select is terminated by hostage detection, the offender will receive a penalty that will not allow them to immediately queue again, and all of the players will re-enter matchmaking, similar to if a player dodges. Penalties for repeated disruptive gameplay have been increased, improved detections. Right. So you can't like try to force people to dodge. Otherwise you will get penalized. I wonder how they go about determining that though. Because what if it's like Broxa playing Teemo jungle and everyone thinks he's trolling and then they just report him? Then what? Lane-based autofill is to make autofill a little more bearable. Bug fixes, quality of life. And we're through, finally. Holy. Alright, guys. So, an hour and a half. I'm uploading all of it to YouTube. But that is your season 2026 patch notes for the start of the season. Jesus, man. That is a lot. Whew. Alright. Well, can't wait to get onto the Rift. I'm not going to give much of an ending note here because those are so long patch notes. Christ. Anyway. Yeah, I'm going to end it there. And in the next video, TFT. Peace.